Abraham, day 6, sin of Sodom. The two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. He said, "Please, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you can rise early and go on your way." They said, "No, we will spend the night in the square." But he urged them strongly, so they turned aside to him and entered his house. He made them a feast, baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man, surrounded the house, and they called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may know them." Lot went out of the door to the men, shut the door after him. He said, "I beg you, my brothers, do not act so wickedly." The sin of Sodom is not homosexuality, but inhospitality. The entire story of Sodom is not primarily about sex. Lot is somehow upheld in the story as a model of virtue, yet in the very next verse he offers up his own daughters to the wickedness of the city. So the sex is not the main sin. The reason Lot is deemed at all virtuous and eventually saved from the wickedness of the city is his generous act of hospitality towards the two men who were disguised as angels, just like Abraham in the previous chapter. These are examples of hospitality towards the stranger, whereas the men of Sodom show utter inhospitality, as extreme as gang rape. Central to the Old Testament's understanding of virtue is a protection of the vulnerable. Time and time again, God's preference is not for the strong and the mighty, but the weak and the lowly. To be made in God's image is to exercise power and dominion, defending the least of these especially. Weary travelers, strangers in a foreign land, anyone with scant resources. These are the sorts of vulnerable people whom God calls his people to protect at all costs. Going deeper, read the rest of Genesis 19. How is God's justice and mercy on display in this wild sequence of events? Then praying and reflecting. Who are the vulnerable people that God is calling me to protect? See you tomorrow.